Oh, guys, hiya. Hope everyone's doing okay. I feel like this is going to be another emotional one today. So I'm going to start off by saying, hi, my name is Kimberley and I am an addict. I am 34 days into sobriety after what feels like the 100th time that I've on my attempt to be in recovery and to be stable. It's been a lifelong journey of mine since being as far back as I can remember, like my whole adult life. I've been in and out of addiction. So, and I just want to add to that statement that I've just made. Yes, I'm an addict and I am not ashamed, I am not embarrassed, and I am proud of the person who I have become, and my self-worth doesn't diminish by the statement that I have just made. I've been called to do this post for some time actually, and it was just kind of a serendipitous meeting with an old friend yesterday that really made me think, do you know what, it is the time to do it. And yes, as much as I've just made the statement of I am not ashamed and I am not embarrassed, doing a video and putting it out for public scrutiny, it is a little bit of a different thing. But I feel like it is much needed. So a friend of mine, just like literally out of the blue, ended up coming and visiting yesterday. They ended up coming and staying over. It was like a random event, but again, I don't believe in coincidence. I think things happen the way that they're supposed to happen, and they are themselves struggling with alcohol and addiction. And not just that, like, not just I know that people in society are out there struggling, you know, mental health and addiction as an all-time high, but I've got many close friends and associates that are struggling with this terrible disease, whatever you want to call it, at the moment in time. So I'm hoping that this is well received and reaches the people that I feel like would benefit from it. I'm just going to go on to saying that if you haven't actually yourself experienced addiction or witnessed those around you experiencing it, you want to thank your lucky stars and be thankful. You want to be so grateful that it isn't something that you have experienced, because it's just kind of like the most lonely, isolating, traumatic experience that you could ever go through. I mean, it might not sound a lot to anybody now that I have done 34 days, but you don't know how much that 34 days means. And you know, every day counts, every minute counts, you know. Yeah, so I'm just really grateful. So anyway, a little bit about myself. Like I've just said, I've been in and out of drug addiction, pretty much my whole adult life. I started taking drugs when I was like 16-17 year old. I was just kind of like party girl. I just absolutely love partying, going out, raving, clubbing, getting off my head. Oh my god, I love it, and I still love it now. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even trying to promote it. I'm not even trying to gloat, or kind of like, I don't want other people to like hear what I'm saying and just think it's something that I wish that you would aspire for. But you know what? I don't regret it. I don't regret any of it. You know, I had the best time of my life, you know, going out partying. I just had the most amazing days of my life. And even all like the struggle and the strife that I went through, I wouldn't change it, because I just believe like you go through things that you're supposed to go through. And, you know, this without experiencing the struggles that I have, I wouldn't have like the gratitude for the health and the healing and the growth, and you know. And it's not just like being grateful now for being sober and to being grounded and have and my mental health is good. I'm just kind of like proud of like my capacity to survive when you feel like you don't want to survive anymore, because it just gets so tough. And yeah, I just see so many people struggling, like even like my bestest friends, my closest friends are really still having a hard time. I've had like, God, I probably need two hands now to count on for fucking friends that we've lost, especially like in this last 12 months. We've had like three friends pass, 2 from addiction, but like going back over the space of 10 years, like we've just lost like so many friends, you know, and it's just like people who are still struggling now, and it's just awful to see. And you know, what I'm trying to get across in this video is that people shouldn't be ashamed. People, you know, that people struggle in silence because there's such a stigma around addiction. You know, people drink alcohol 7 days a week, and it's not half as shunned as it is if you were to say, oh, like I'm sniffing a bag a day. You know, there's so much, you know, alcohol. You can go into any shop, you can buy it online, there's mainstream supermarkets, and alcohol is just as toxic and it's just as life and soul destroying as any other drug. Not even just that, it could be food, it could be gambling, it could be sex, porn addiction, I don't know if I said it, but food. So along my journey of dealing with addiction, I've also experienced like eating disorders, and I can tell you now, it's just as traumatic dealing with a food addiction as it is dealing with a drug addiction. But there's so much more shame and stigma that comes towards people who take drugs, and it's not healthy. It's not healthy as a society to believe that somebody's self-worth diminishes just because that they've got a problem, just because they've got an illness and an unhealthy coping mechanism. It's not. You know, people say, oh, well, they've chose that themselves. No, it didn't. Did you? Do you? Well, it is a choice, yeah, to an extent. But do you think people wake up every day and like want to have to deal with that? You know, the embarrassment and the shame, and you know, and I know it experiences like people it affects people in the family just as much as it does. You know, it's awful. Like to think if I had my own child that was. Unfortunately enough, like my son, I know others might feel like I should feel guilty for this, but my son has been brought up in and around drug addiction, but I've used it as a form of education and to really teach him about like the effects of like taking drugs. And now, fortunately, he's pushing 20 years old, and he's never tried a drug. He's really against it, and I'm grateful that he got to see it firsthand, and the struggles that you can be thrust upon, because I just can't even imagine, as well as being a parent of somebody in addiction, like how awful it must be and how helpless like you must feel. And as an addict, it's you know, like when your parents are involved and stuff like that, your parents are looking for answers. They're like, well, why this again, and you don't even have the answers, and it just becomes like brushed under the carpet. It just comes so taboo because, you know, you don't have the answers yourself. And then they say, oh, like, oh, you know, when somebody's saying, oh, I'm sober again this time, and your parent might say, oh, well, I've heard it all before. But please believe me, like every time that you say, I'm done, you mean it, you want it, you know. It's not just that you think that you're just saying it for the fucking sake of it. It's not like that. You genuinely want it. You genuinely think this is the time. But it's not just as easy as that. Oh God, sorry. It's just, no, I'm not sorry. In fact, I don't know what I'm apologising for. I'm not sorry. I think it just needs to be heard. There's so many people I know that are struggling at the minute. I'm just so sad. I'm just sad for society. And as much as I've said it like many times before, I do believe that this time round is it for me, because I've had to change internally. You know, stopping taking drugs, it can be the easy part. But the hard part is dealing with all the other aspects that come along with it, like the loneliness, the isolation. You might have to change where you live. You might have to cut out best friends, you know, change your friendship group. And you've really got to get to the core of that pain of what is driving it, you know, the shame, the guilt, the anger, the sadness. And it's not easy. It takes a really strong will of character for somebody to really dig deep and just like look at themselves like with raw honesty and just be like, yeah, I'm fucked, and I don't know where to go from here, you know. And it just takes a really strong form of character to even admit that to themselves, never mind to reach out for help when there's so much stigma and embarrassment about it. And I do really feel if we just came together a little bit more and was a little bit more understanding and compassionate in society, more people would reach out for help. The same just goes like with mental health and stuff. People will be like, oh, people should reach out, people should like admit, talk to people when they've got mental health. And then I hear people saying, oh, they're moaning that they've got anxiety, they're moaning that they've got this, oh, they're in bed sleeping, they're missing work. These are all symptoms of mental health and anxiety and stuff. And it's like everyone's saying, oh, everyone should speak up. And then there's such fucking shame towards people who are suffering. It just don't make sense. But yeah, for anybody who knows me and has been following my page and my videos now, I really, really do believe that I can help. I really do believe that I have some good techniques and some things that I've learned, because you've got to change your whole identity. People like relapse and stuff because they still deep down they believe that they're an addict. You've got to see yourself as something bigger than where you're already at. In order to change, you've really got to like look yourself in the face and just admit it to yourself that you're sinking and that you've got a problem, and that is really like 50% of the work is just like being honest with yourself. Oh God, I felt like I was on a right rant then, but it just needed to come out. I just want, if this message can do anything to anybody, I just want others to hear that they're not alone. You're not unworthy. You've probably got self-beliefs of low confidence, insecurity, feelings of abandonment, fears of rejection, but that's all they are, fears and beliefs that we have gathered along the way, probably from being as far back as like under 7-year-old. That's how far back that these memories and these beliefs can, these patterns occur in our mind. But it doesn't mean that because you've got that belief that it can't be changed, and these beliefs aren't true. You've got to choose not to believe them, because like all this low self-worth and self-doubt and stuff is what keeping you attached to drugs to cover that up, that coping mechanism of all those heavy emotions. You just need to really, really choose yourself and just believe it's possible and that you can heal. Anybody who is struggling, please feel free to reach out for me for any like ideas, any tips, any strategies that I've used myself, just any advice, or if they just want to talk to somebody to get it off your chest. Yeah, my line is always open. I'm always here to chat and help anybody, not just like struggling with addiction, but just with any forms of like healing and mental health, or any crises that people are experiencing at the moment. I do really, really feel like that this is kind of like my niche, my forte, what I kind of came here to do. And even if I could just help one person, then that person might go on to help another person, and I will feel fulfilled and that I've lived with purpose. So yeah, that's it. That's it for today. So anybody who is struggling out there, you're not alone, and please just dig deep and reach out for help and know that it is possible. Okay, love you all. Bye.